Is Punisher Warzone set at Christmas? Because I'd recommend that. It's a fucking brilliant film. You're listening to Diminished Returns, the podcast about sequels, prequels, spin-offs and reboots. I'm Chris Scott. And across from me, a man who's so old I assume he's already had the vaccine. It's Mr. Alan Johnson.
How do pod people?
Ho ho ho, guys. Merry Christmas, most of you. This is a non-franchise episode, a wee Christmas bonus, a wee stocking filler for you for the festive season. We're basically going to do a wee episode here with some Christmas recommendations for your viewing for the next few weeks, which will allow us time to prepare yet another episode for you next week, where we will be doing a full-length franchise episode on Wonder Woman in anticipation of Wonder Woman 84 being released in America on streaming sites on Christmas Day and destroying possibly the entire cinema industry there. So if you've seen any news about films recently, it's that basically Warner Brothers is making a decision that if I had HBO Max in the States, I would fucking definitely be into.
Absolutely. They have a slate of films.
And no cinemas to put them in.
It's a business decision.
But on the other side, everybody's like, this could kill the cinema industry. What will happen? It'll probably take about a year or two to figure out. So, what do we know? We've got an episode of Wonder Woman coming next week. But Al, this week you've decided that we should do some Christmas recommendations. So basically, films that have a Christmas element, no matter how specious.
That's right, Chris. It seems like the discussion about whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie comes earlier and earlier each year. There are movies that have nice wintry, Christmassy elements in, like Batman Returns and almost all Shane Black films that maybe get overlooked as Christmas movies, and I thought we should recommend a few for our beloved listeners.
Absolutely. I want to point out there's an advert for another podcast that I hear, and one of the jokes that they've put in this advert, right, that they thought, this will get people listening, was, is Die Hard a Christmas movie is so overplayed? Well, I'm going to flip it on its head. Is Christmas a Die Hard movie? What? Aye, exactly. And you put that on your fucking advert. I'm sure you'll love the people. Perhaps the rest of your podcast is great. But whoever's doing your adverts, you need to have a word. I'm sure that sounded great in your head or whatever, but it's some dumb shit. And somebody says dumb shit in this podcast all the live long day, right? So, the boring is I think Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Here's the thing. It's set at Christmas.
Yeah.
Right? There's Christmas all over the plot in the script. You saying that does not make you the interesting fucking cineast that you think it is. Star Wars, I think that's kind of like a space movie. You fucking dumb, uninteresting, no patter, no fucking nothing about you cunts. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, so watch any film you want at any time of the goddamn year, but do you know what? We just thought it'd be fun to have some Christmas adjacent movies. So Chris, I asked you to, like me, write a few suggestions of Christmas adjacent movies. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I put very little thought into this, to be honest with you. But again, don't come at me and be like, well, it's not that Christmas adjacent, it's actually pretty Christmassy. But rare exports.
Brilliant.
Rare exports from Finland.
We have Santa Claus. Selitä sille, että meillä on täällä pukki myytävänä.
Rare exports, a Christmas tale.
What a fun movie that is. The conceit of that film is brilliant.
Have you seen the follow-up that guy made with Samuel L. Jackson?
The Game? Yes. Brilliant. So, I can't remember the guy's name, but basically this Finland director has made this really cool kind of alternative-y Christmas movie. But when I say alternative, just like a wee different take on the Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's like a fun, creepy action movie in places. And it's really entertaining, really fun, rare exports for something a wee bit different. And as Alan has noted there, guys, the movie that he made next, which had Samuel L. Jackson in it and starred the wee boy from Rare Exports as well, where the president of America gets lost in Finland, basically, in a forest in Finland. This boy has to help him when people try to kill him. It's, again, much like Rare Exports, just fun.
Bags of fun.
But so Rare Exports was really the main one for me, because it was like, it's a subtitled Finnish movie. We do have listeners that are, almost as nerdy as you, Alan. But there's a lot, so they'll probably seen it, but a lot of people haven't, or people have maybe heard of it, but kind of, never managed to catch it. I believe it's streaming on Amazon Prime. So, if you've got that, or if you know somebody who's got a password, go for it.
It's a favourite on Film 4 as well.
Yeah, so Rare Exports, get it done. What about you, Al?
Well, the first one I thought about is, for me, always I love it to watch at Christmas, is 3 Days of the Condor with Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway. Maybe the most beautiful pairing in cinema history, like both at their maximum hotness. There's some uncomfortable sexual politics.
It was the 70s.
Yeah.
Like every film has questionable.
Yes? Do you believe the condor is really an endangered species?
Is whatever it requires, but end it.
Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway in danger and in love in 3 Days of the Condor.
As a thriller, it's amazing. It's set in New York. It's cold, it's wintry, it's covered in snow and ice. The Dave Grusin soundtrack is brilliant, and I love a little bit of espionage. I love a bit of a political thriller. It's grand.
Yeah. I've never actually seen it. I've never seen it.
I mean, I didn't check up to see if it was streaming anywhere, but there's definitely an amazing Eureka Blu-ray edition of it out. Definitely worth asking Santa to slip it into your stocking.
Beautiful, beautiful. The other one that I was thinking of is a film that I actually kind of just thought about. I remember really enjoying this film. Mm-hmm. Now, here's where I'm putting the caveat to end all caveats. It's been about 20 years, if not more, since I've seen it. But Trapped in Paradise, I think it's called. Oh yeah,
Dana Carvey, John Lovitz,
Nicolas Cage.
Of course, Nick Cage.
And I think Mad Tsunami.
Oh yeah.
One of the hot chicks from Twin Peaks. I think she's the female lead, isn't it? I understand that I am normally the cynical, beaten down voice of Diminished Returns podcast. I understand that I am a man that if you've met me once, you would bet your life savings that I am the sort of prick that hates Christmas. That could not be further from the truth. I love Christmas. It's fucking amazing. It's such a wonderful time of the year. Everybody's in a good mood.
The perfect time to cozy up with movies.
Well, I mean, that's what I'll be doing. I'll not be seeing my family, but, because of the coronavirus, I'm just the old-fashioned person that doesn't want to kill my parents unless it's by my own hand, If I'm going to kill my parents, I'm going to do it, when they're looking me in the eye. Not because I touched that door handle and then fucking one of them touched their face, But, so, I mean, I'll just be kicking about myself this Christmas, right? But that's fine. I'll still love it. I love the fact that you're buying gifts for people that you love. They buy you gifts. And, it doesn't matter if it's expensive or not. It's just a little token appreciation. You get loads of films on TV. You get a big slap up dinner. What's there not to like? I think that Christmas is a bit like when David Letterman describes celebrity. He goes, Jet being famous. He goes, actually, no. He says, because people treat you the way that everyone should be treated all the time. And people open doors for you. People are nice to you. People return your calls, right? That's a bit like I think Christmas is. Because in that week or two coming up to Christmas, sure, there's a lot of stress and all that going on for a lot of people, but there's also like a wee buzz about everyone. And usually people are a bit nicer, and they're a bit like, they're in a bit of a good mood. So, I mean, also it is a huge time for suicides as well. But other than that, I love Christmas.
And that's why you love Trapped in Paradise, because it is about people who behave like you normally, who are suddenly surrounded by goodwill and good cheer, really begin to doubt their motives.
Yeah. Now, I can't, it's been so long, but I really remember enjoying it and just finding it like a charming, fun, festive thing.
20th Century Fox presents the story of a town so nice.
Do you need any money?
No, we've taken more than our share already.
It's turning 3 wise guys into 3 wise men.
I'm going to put the money back.
You are going to be the first guy in history to get pinched for putting money back.
No!
Trapped in paradise.
You don't aggravate the old witch.
I wish I was a witch. I'd shove my broomstick right up your...
It's funny because most of my selections involve police brutality.
Cool. You know what? That was my two, because I think obviously, we can go down the Shane Black route. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, fucking Last Boy Scout. I watched that on Prime recently. Brilliant.
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Iron Man 3. All got the Christmas vibe going on. And of course, Lethal Weapon, which we did a whole episode on. So if you've not heard that, go back to our previous episodes. We've got a really fun episode on that. So, obviously I would recommend all of those because I'm a Shane Black fan. But the main two for me that I thought people might not have been aware of: Rare Exports, Trapped in Paradise. So I'll take it away because I know you'll have about 4,000.
I've wrote a few, just from the point of view of thinking people might just have missed the kind of Christmas aspect of it. So let's start with LA Confidential from 1997, set at Christmas time.
Beautiful.
Intertwined stories of the police detectives in early 50s Hollywood. Set at Christmas. It features Dean Martin's Christmas Blues on the soundtrack. It's great, really brutal. I know obviously this year has been tricky to reconcile how you feel about police and their portrayal in mainstream media, but I think LA Confidential is an all-timer.
For a start, if you're the sort of person who's like, I hate all the police, which like Alan is because he's a a hug-a-hoodie fucking peacenik. But what I would say is that if you think the police are all scum and bastards, don't worry, LA Confidential is still the film for you. The protagonists in this are not necessarily heroes.
Let's just say nobody walks away clean.
Yeah.
They were three cops who had nothing in common. One would do anything to get ahead. One had his own brand of justice. And one loved the spotlight. Now, all of them are faced with solving one case. LA Confidential.
I love LA Confidential, but I also, I would say the book that it's based on and the series of books, and that novelist, a guy called James Ellroy, is maybe my favourite novelist. LA Confidential is one of the few great books that's been turned into an equally great film.
Yeah.
The book is a huge dense fucking work.
Tome.
Yeah, it's a tome. You never get an undensed tome, do you? A tome is always big, No one ever goes, I've got a wee 200-page tome for you. That makes no sense, right? But anyway, the film is actually very different from the book. It distills a lot of things. It throws out a lot of things. But they're both equally great. And if you like that and you want basically the motherlode of that sort of thing in written form, James Ellroy's LA Quartet, and then his American Tabloid trilogy, and his new, I've read the first of his new trilogy as well, and they're basically just piece of shit scumbags doing awful things. And if you know me now, there's two things that I love: Christmas and piece of shit scumbags and fucking narratives. So yeah, LA Confidential is a great shout. It's a great film.
And so following on from that with a little bit of police brutality is The French Connection. The Christmas in that movie is epitomised by Gene Hackman dressed up as Santa Claus chasing a perp through the streets.
Brilliant.
Get off the bar and get on the wall!
Doyle is bad news, but he's a good cop. The stakeout, the payoff, the chase. French Connection.
Gene Hackman's a guy that is just top draw. And just like in everything he's ever been, even shit movies, he pops in, just fucking classes the joint up. What a man. And The French Connection is basically just a film of him being a fucking bad motherfucker. And I love it. Popeye Doyle.
What a movie. And Gene Hackman is a connective tissue here. And 1998's Enemy of the State, set at Christmas time. Will Smith is the man in the wrong place at the wrong time who's out buying lingerie for his wife's Christmas when he runs into Jason Lee, which sends his life on a kind of hyperkinetic Hitchcock-style mystery. And Gene Hackman shows up almost as a kind of like belated sequel to The Conversation.
So a wee homage, which, by the way, Conversation, I think we mentioned a few episodes ago, great film as well, really but great. Not Christmas.
But Enemy of the State, I was surprised. I watched it recently and surprised.
I remember it being fun.
Yeah, like a great film at the time, but what I did think is obviously it's from 1998. I was like, oh, maybe the technological aspect of the movie is going to be like really dated now. But actually it all holds up pretty well, and in many ways the film, I guess, was kind of ahead of its time, like of that kind of surveillance state mindset, which obviously we found out through WikiLeaks and that kind of stuff, that there was a lot of like deep state surveillance going on like regular people. I mean, we're all cutting about with mobile phones with cameras and microphones in them, like there's
what you got to hide, Alan? Like,
well, not me,
I'm a responsible citizen.
That's why he's a 91-year-old. I'm already pumped full of the COVID vaccine.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm absolutely fine, and anyone can look at anything in my life. Apart from my browser history, actually. Don't touch that. No, please. Nothing dirty. It just shows you how sad I am. Looking up real obscure power pop.
Yeah, so Julie, I'm going to finish up my Christmas shopping. Hey, do chicks dig lingerie?
A powerful man has been murdered. A hidden camera recorded the crime. An innocent bystander was given the evidence. Directed by Tony Scott.
Why are they after me? You have something they want!
Will Smith. Gene Hackman. Enemy of the State.
So yeah, a Gene Hackman double bill there with French Connection, Enemy of the State. Then a little bit of a change of pace with The Apartment.
Great film, yeah.
Again, set at Christmas, no perfect comedy, flawless cast.
The two leads in that film are just fucking out of this world in that movie.
Absolutely. And also like Fred McMurray as well as the philandering boss at the back of it.
Again, it says like a lot of these older films, what I like about them is that, you know, a lot of these films are really dark. And dark,
yes.
I mean, because a lot of people think like, oh, you know, the 90s, you know, Fight Club and Seven and Tarantino and Blood and Gore. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, kids. This is a romantic comedy about depressed, used up people.
Attempted suicides and like philandering.
Yeah, and effectively they sort of live in this sort of moral corruption, except it's not like, you know, City Hall or anything. It's just that your boss is a dick and they're using somebody who doesn't deserve to be used in a way that they shouldn't be. Dark Nights of the Soul ahead. And yet also, this is a fucking comedy. It's brilliant.
Maybe Billy Wilder's finest moment, which is saying something.
Yeah, I mean, great film.
Ingredient number 1. A very warm, very wonderful story about a boy, a girl, and a very special kind of problem. Ingredient number 2. A brilliant cast. Jack Lemmon in a delightful role which gives full rein to Jack's amazing versatility. Shirley MacLaine, whose glowing warmth lights up the screen like a Christmas tree. Fred McMurray. This is a Fred McMurray you've never seen before. Ingredient number 3, Billy Wilder. There's nothing quite like that Billy Wilder, some like it hot kind of laughter.
Mildred, he's at it again.
Then finally, a real kind of classic Alan choice here.
Killer Santa. All right, okay.
Exactly. Yes, it's Killer Santa. I've picked one of John Waters' favourite films, Christmas Evil. You might know it as You Better Watch Out, but it's called Christmas Eve Ill.
Both of those titles, however, are actually still pretty good. They're both equally dumb and brilliant. You Better Watch Out is actually great. That's a great title.
There was a more recent sort of Home Alone style horror movie made called Better Watch Out, which I must be honest, I did not care for. Maybe if I saw it again, I'd feel differently. But Christmas Evil is brilliant. It basically destroyed the director's career. It took about 20 years for it to actually kind of gain traction. It was made in 1980. The poster had an amazing tagline where it said, first came Halloween, then Friday the 13th, and now Christmas Evil. You better believe in Santa or he'll slay you.
Lovely. There you go. That's what you want. That's effectively the 80s in one poster.
It is absolutely brilliant. John Waters describes this film as like kind of somebody is basically driven mad by Claus mania. He's so obsessed with Christmas, which he's sort of scarred from a childhood incident where he saw Mommy kissing Santa under the Christmas tree, and that sort of scarred him for life. And he grows up to work in a toy shop, and he like starts stalking about and like making a naughty list of the boys and girls in his neighbourhood.
Yeah, this actually sounds pretty good, yeah.
It's amazing, twisted, sordid, and totally hilarious. I love it. Christmas Evil from 1980.
Christmas Evil, the night he dropped in.
I also want to point out, you mentioned about another film that you said it's like a Home Alone horror movie. That's a hell of a fucking description. You know, Home Alone itself is a horror movie if you're a burglar. You know, like that's the real...
Yeah, murderous preteen just caving skulls in. I mean...
Fair play. You know, we you know, sometimes you just want to murder someone. That's every time I look at you in the podcast, I think to myself, I could probably kill someone. No, that's good. Those are some great choices. Oh, one that is again maybe an obvious one, but just because you were talking about like Christmas and bad things happening to your parents' Christmas, we've got to talk Gremlins as well. If you haven't seen Gremlins or Gremlins 2 recently, treat yourself because they're both fucking great.
Great film and some real scares in it.
Fun, nasty stuff for the youngins. That's pretty good.
That's enough to keep people happily indoors for a few days over the festive period.
Yeah, that's it. Let's be honest, you're probably not going to be doing much. You know, there's not going to be a lot happening.
You'll have fallen out with your family at this point. Nobody will be speaking to one another. What you want to do is escape in another room and watch a film.
That's it. I mean, that's why, you know, living alone at Christmas, people will be worried about me, right? I just want to say, I like to look at me being alone this Christmas, just for this 1 year, and I'll be with my parents next year. But this is like training for my 60s, basically. This is training for when everyone I love is dead and I will be left alone with nothing but my TV for company, and it's gonna be amazing. Merry Christmas, everyone! We'll see you next week for Wonder Woman. Bye!
Ho, ho, ho.
Christmas film, which the censors said is too terrifying to be seen by British children, began its run in London today. It's Gremlins from Steven Spielberg, the creator of E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark. The film's distributors, Warner Brothers, wanted it to have a PG certificate, the cautionary classification that says children can see it with parental guidance. But the British Board of Film Censors has ruled that no one under 15 may see it. Michael Cole reports on Gremlins.
Gremlins' gala opening brought out leading members of London's show business glitterati. The film's been released in time for Christmas, but it's no son of E.T. Warner Brothers campaigned to get a PG certificate, which Gremlins has in America. But the British censors ruled 15 and above only. Gremlins are being sold as cute, clever, mischievous, intelligent, dangerous. The word the publicity avoids is murderous. In the box is a cuddly little thing called Gizmo, which rapidly spawns a whole army of horrific gremlins who cause murder and mayhem in a small American town. The British Board of Censors decided Gremlins was far too frightening and disturbing for pre-teenage children. One board member said Gremlins subverts Christmas, which the heroine says she hates because her father died trapped in a chimney. The censors' view was shared by some.
I thought it was appalling.
Tell me more.
I can't understand why Steven Spielberg lent his name to it, quite honestly.
Oh, I can't understand why that should be a 15 certificate. You know, we have a very silly censor in this country. They have a children's film. Children's film in every other country in the world except this, because our censor is certifiable himself.
If they saw the film, children would know that the cute little gizmos turn into vicious gremlins in the middle of the night and then terrorize your mother in the kitchen.
I wish the thought, as long as the gremlins keep out of this studio.